we go. Here we go. Here we go. All
Hey,
right.
recording?
We are recording.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Pragmatic Doulas podcast.
That's
This
us.
is us. This is us. That's Kim Fernandez over there on the ones and twos.
Okay, you said that last week. It's not funny anymore.
It's not funny.
I love it. And that's Stephanie
I
Alou
forgot it, so
on threes and
it's so
fours.
funny to me.
There you go. And for our listeners, who will laugh at our jokes every single time when we tell, even if we tell the same ones?
That's because they love all of us,
Yeah,
particularly you, Suzanne. I think you're the one seen with affection.
I'm what?
I think you're the one who's always seen with affection.
Okay. Hey.
As opposed to what? We're
I'll
just
take
like
that.
sitting here like
Yeah. What
lumps
do you
on a
know
log
about-
bitches, not doing
Yeah.
anything? What the fuck?
What the
Suzanne,
fuck?
is Suzanne the log and we're the bumps on the log, or what roles do we all have here?
I think we all have equal parts in this, so
No,
I'm not
that
going to
is
go
not
through that.
true. That is
Because
not
that's
true.
pragmatic.
Kim does everything, and Stephanie and I.
I just do the technical stuff.
She's the producer
She's our Steven.
and the email answerer.
Yeah, which nobody sends us anymore. Like, come on, people. You don't like us, you don't rate us, you don't send us emails, you don't interact with us.
What's your problem?
What the hell?
Yeah. Are you a fan?
Are you
Do
even
know the
listening?
definition of the word fan?
Fanatic.
You do all of those things. And if we're doing this YouTube thing, just look at Stephanie's face right now. She looks like she's a happy Borg. Anybody who watches Star Trek will know what
That
I'm
would be
talking
cyborg.
Cyborg.
She's a happy Borg, and she's frozen in space. She's the poster girl for the Borg.
I didn't actually move to Mississauga. I'm in outer space.
Are you like even your clothing doesn't show up, like it's melted into the actual scenery.
It is.
That's the weirdest thing.
And my eyeballs, like there's no eyeballs, there's just space.
No. And you're frozen. It's weird.
It just turned off. Like all of a sudden the camera turned off. It was very weird.
Oh, crazy.
I'm
So,
looking around for Ziggy, and I don't know where she is.
well,
She's
that's
probably under the chair, I suppose. Yeah, it's her favorite spot. So, what's going on with you people?
I'm not well today.
What's wrong with you? Head to
I've
toe.
I have a migraine.
You have a migraine.
Yes, the food I ate yesterday, I believe that while I didn't use any of the spices, I used my own spices. I believe the oyster sauce probably had MSG in it. And I'm allergic to MSG.
Yeah, that's what'll do it. So when you say a migraine, like what's the difference for you inside of your head? What's the difference between a migraine and a headache? Is it just more pain, or do you get weird things like people say?
It's more intensity. I mean, sometimes I get auras and stuff like that. Not this time. When it's like a food migraine, it's just like an intensity, and it sits actually in my, like behind my eyes and in my sinuses, which is why this morning, I normally what I used to do is I would take Advil cold and sinus because it clears it up actually fairly quickly. But I don't take it anymore because Advil or ibuprofen is very hard on your kidneys, and I already have issues there. And you can't take it when you have high blood pressure, which I also have. I'm on blood pressure medication. Don't get old, it's a waste of time. But I had to do something because I couldn't even function, and my day is like so fucking full today. It's insane. So I dug around in the cupboards this morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning to try and find something. And I ended up finding some Advil cold and sinus, and I took it. Unfortunately, it was nighttime, Advil cold and sinus. So I promptly went for a nap because it knocked me out, and then had to take my son to work, and then came back and had to be coherent for this meeting that I had in the morning, and then had another nap, and then now I'm here, and then I have to teach tonight as well as cook dinner again, and I'm like, oh my God, I just need to go to bed. My brain, I'm not even going to be able to sleep tonight, I'm sure, but I do feel better. I'm just a little stupid right now. Like my brain isn't quite kicking into gear the way it needs to. So we'll see. We'll see what bullshit comes out of my mouth as we go through this.
Please listen with that caveat in mind.
Exactly. If I sound like a blithering idiot, that's the reason. I don't have no excuse for any of the other times, but today that's what my excuse is.
Yep.
How about you, Miss Suzanne? What's up with you? I have to say your skin looks absolutely beautiful after that walk you went on. You're like glowing.
Well, I mean, I guess sunshine and
Sun and water.
sun, yeah, and hydration and this stuff here.
What's that? Oh,
This
that's
is,
Abnormal Company.
yeah, this is face oil that I use. And so I find that when I put this on, I don't need moisturizer, especially in the summer. In the winter, I probably do need moisturizer on top of this, but I use, this is 100% plant-derived squalene oil. That's it.
Squalene oil.
Squalene
When do you
oil from The Ordinary.
when do you use it? Before your walk? After your walk?
Oh no, I use it in the morning when I do my morning ablutions.
Your
When I,
ablutions.
yeah, when I wash my face in the morning, which is usually just with water, I put that on. I said, you use like a little tiny bit. I swear to God, this stuff costs like $8. That's it.
I know. I use one of their serums that Will
Yeah.
got me.
Yeah.
Love that stuff. I mean, I think I've put on a little weight since COVID, so my wrinkles have filled out. Um, but shit, man, I've
Yeah.
been it's been working well. So if you want to get rid of your wrinkles, just eat a bunch of potato chips.
Smooth that shit out.
Fill that shit out. You'll get a double chin, but all your cheeks will be
And
nice and
it'll
smooth.
be like the smoothest chin you've ever had. That
That's
extra.
right.
I say that about my stretch marks. My stretch marks, when I put weight on and my belly is fatter, my stretch marks are sort of smoother. There isn't that
Yes.
squishy, wrinkly look you get when people are skinny but they have stretch marks. Yeah, that's not me. I just have lines. That's all. But they're smooth lines.
I've seen people, like when I've been going over this because I've been going through Facebook memories and stuff like that. But back in the day when I was like working out constantly and all this stuff, I used to follow all these people, that were like, workout people and all that stuff. And the more I looked, and it's like, shit, man, like all that hardcore, like weightlifting and depriving your body of the things it wants, and all the tanning and everything. Don't tell me you're 40 because you look 60. Like it ravages your skin like crazy. But
Yeah.
just sitting here during COVID, drinking my water, filling out with nice, chubby fat on my cheeks. Yeah, no, it's working for me. I don't care.
And that's how you do it.
And what
I'm
about you,
good.
Steph? What are you up to these days? This is turning into HP Corner, Health Priority Corner.
Health Priority Corner.
Which we
After a
haven't done in a
couple,
while.
it's true. After a couple low energy days, because it was like the first few days of my period, I didn't go on my walks that I've been doing religiously every morning. I get up, I have my COVID routine that I started, which just seems to be me getting up at the crack ass of dawn, like 6:30 in the morning, which is not like me. Go
I'm sorry,
downstairs.
that would be ass crack of
Ass
dawn.
crack. Sorry. Thank you. This is also corrections corner. I get up in the morning, go downstairs with the dogs, let the dogs out, start the coffee, get them fed, and I drink my coffee outside. And I clean my kitchen while my coffee's being made. And then after that, I put my shoes on, take my post coffee poop first, then I put my shoes on and I go out for a walk and I hit the trails. My foot's feeling a lot better, so I've been doing the hills, which has been excellent. But then my period came this month. And in my head, I'm like, no, you have to push through. No, you have to do this. No, you have to do that. I'm like, no, actually, you know what? Who's telling me that? I don't have to do shit. My body's telling me to slow down.
Yep.
Me to stay home and drink a little more water. So I stayed home and drank more water. I stayed home and had a bit more coffee, and I didn't do. Generally speaking, I'm not hungry in the morning, but instead of intermittent fasting, I actually did put by 10 a.m. some food in my body. I did that for the past 3 days. Today was the first day I was back to the hills, and I felt really good having given myself that space.
Excellent. So let me ask you, as a new dog owner, when do you walk your dogs in the morning? Is somebody else doing that, or do you do that and then go for your walk? Because walking this damn dog is not giving me like the amount of steps that I think. It's giving me extra steps if I go out and do a walk on my own. But because she's so little, she stops every a meter. She finds something interesting to stop and smell. So we take a few steps and then we stop. And then I coax her to start moving again, and so on and so on. And that's how it goes. So when do you walk your three, I should say, three, right? Three
Yep.
big English bulldogs.
When I get back from the walk. For a while, I was doing it first, almost like I do like a warm-up walk with them, because like you said, it's start and stop and piss and shit and find the smells of other dogs. But I found that it was driving me crazy. So when I come back, I'll take a dog for a walk. And then usually one of the other kids, I was taking all three of them, and I said, fuck that. And usually the other kids will just take the other ones one at a time. Everyone kind of picks a dog and says, who's been out, who hasn't been out, and they take them for a walk. So everyone gets the dog. Mm-hmm. When Roger was off work for 2 weeks, we went together in the morning to walk them. But usually it's just when I'm back, whoever's first one through the door gets to go for a walk with me.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of outside time for me when I'm going to, I took Ziggy really early this morning, like 6:30. And then I just came back. I went for my walk from 12 to like 1. And then I'll take her out again at about 8. So she goes to sleep so easily when we come back in. She conks right out. I pick her up to put her in the crate, and she just looks at me, and I just put her in there, and she doesn't make a sound until 6 o'clock this morning. Yep. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I actually have a recommend. Speaking of, like, you're talking about people who you would follow on Instagram, like fitness, weightlifting people.
Which I don't anymore.
If you don't even know their names anymore.
No.
I follow somebody who is awesome. She's a yoga teacher, and she lives in Hamilton, and her Instagram is called jogale.moves, JOGALE.moves, and she's fantastic, body positive, and super duper. She's great. She's funny. She's cute. I love her so much. I follow her every day. Make sure that I can see her stuff. If I miss 2 days of seeing her, I gotta like look her up to see what's happening. Where are you? So Jo
What's her
Gale.
name?
Her name is Jo.
Mm-hmm.
Last name Gale. Gale. So it's JO Gale. She's awesome. So follow her. She's
All
great.
right. I'll do that.
Shout out. And do you know who else is on like a little bit of a health journey and is like putting it all out there? I mean, she's gorgeous and beautiful and fit anyway, but also very health focused, is our friend Tanisha.
Yes, she is.
Our little friend Tanisha. She's also out there. You can follow her because she is doing all the things, and she's got two Instagram accounts. One of them is probably more for work doula stuff, like the doula experience, and she also has Miss Tanisha, which is exactly how it sounds, MISSTANICIA, Miss Tanisha. So follow her too, because she's got it going on when it comes to health priority, body positivity, and all of that stuff. In the meantime, take Kim's advice and eat some chips.
Or
eat your chips while doing your yoga. Whatever.
Or don't.
Or do a little bit of both.
Do whatever you like.
Yes. Make it ice cream if not chips. It's fine. We're body positive too.
We support you.
You got a body, we're positive about it.
There you go. We are positive you have a body.
What's our topic for today? Fuck, man, I can't even remember. We just talked about it like 5 minutes ago, and it's
Don't
gone
make
Your
me
out.
doula,
look it up again.
is it your superpowers or something like that? Your doula
All right, what's
superpowers?
your superpower? What's your doula superpower? Or
Yeah.
your intrinsic talent? What do you bring to this profession that is uniquely and specially yours? What do
Are
you,
we going to do the land acknowledgement first?
Yes, ma'am. Was I
uh,
last week? I was last
Yeah,
week.
you were last week.
so it's my turn or Kim's turn?
No, it's me.
Go, Kim,
I
go.
found a really good one yesterday at my Black Doula Society meeting. I found one and I really liked it, and I screenshotted it, so that's the one that I'm going to do all the
Okay.
time now. Has a little blurb at the bottom.
Okay, well, this is just from the Toronto City website because I can't think straight. Okay. The land I'm standing on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, uh, sorry, yeah, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, Shawnee, sorry, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis people. I also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. I'll try and be more creative next time, but right
That's
now.
okay. The one that I have says that same thing, but then there's a little part at the bottom that I really like, and it says Takaranto, which is the original name of Toronto, is built on sacred land that is part of the agreement between Indigenous peoples and then extended to allied nations to peacefully and respectfully care for it. By personally making a land acknowledgement, you are taking part in an act of reconciliation, honoring the land and Indigenous heritage, which dates back over 10,000 years. So that little piece there at the bottom I thought was good.
Yeah, that's good.
But this one that I'm reading, says all this exactly the same thing that you said, Kim, but it just has that little bit at
Oh, okay.
the bottom
Cool.
there. So yes, we shall forge on, and now the podcast is officially opened.
We are here for
We
your
know.
superpower.
We
We
now
call this
officially
podcast
open.
order at
Yes.
2:26
Excellent.
for us. Yeah. So, what intrinsic gifts do you bring to doula work? Do you have something that you think that is a part of doula work that you are especially good at, that you feel comes easily to you? What is that for you? One of you guys.
What's yours? What's your
What is my superpower?
Yeah.
I don't know that it applies specifically to something that's made me able to continue the work has been to, and it's not specifically the doula work like being with families and such, but one of my greatest gifts to myself was when I decided or came to the agreement with myself that walking into a meeting with a family before we're ever going to work together had nothing to do with me specifically. So if I was hired or wasn't hired, I'm not committed to that outcome, which I think goes against a lot of the trainings that are related to how to land a client, how to do like all those things that are along that line. The day that I decided someone choosing someone else wasn't them not choosing me, made my experience as a doula so much more rewarding, to not feel like there was some sort of an end game that I had to meet or that I had to be the right doula for all the people. And that really fed into the way I show up for people at their labor, in my communication with them is it's not about me. And I don't know if that's specifically a doula superpower, but it certainly is a being able to practice what I love doing superpower.
So it's like a mindset talent. Like you have a mindset that makes this work not torturous, because not everybody gets hired all the time for everything.
No, but again, strangely, I got, as soon as that happened, I got hired a lot more often. Like the percentage wise was much higher when I never, worried about whether I was getting hired or not, because I believed they would find the right person for them.
But I think that also plays into, you went in there not trying to sell yourself. You went in there just being yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's really the huge part. I mean, when we send, you know, so many times when you see, you know, oh, I've got my first client interview, you know, what do I do? Just be yourself. Like, just be you.
Mhm.
Be you, be who you are. And if there's a connection, then there is. And if there isn't, you wouldn't want to work with those people anyways.
No,
Yeah,
you
being authentic is super
Yeah.
important. Be authentic, because that you're really good at that. Actually, people, if you just decide to be authentic, you'd be surprised at how good you are at that, because that is who you are. So just
Yeah.
be yourself. You don't need to copy or emulate anybody else. Be yourself, because the clients that hire you for yourself, those are the clients that you'll remember forever.
Mhm.
Not the people who are looking for something else and that you're pretending to be something else, and you know it's all a big sham.
And
So
people can see bullshit.
totally. And I think, Stephanie, that you're right, that when you don't tie all of your stars to that wagon of getting hired with those people, it's like you free yourself from the burden of worrying about that. Even if, like, I'm really broke and I'm down in the dumps with money, it helps to remind myself this one client is not going to make or break my life. They
Mhm.
really aren't. And they may not be for me. I may not be for them. They also may not be for me. It's a two-way street. So
very much so. Very much so.
yeah. I get that. That's a good mindset superpower to have. Do you have any skills that you're really good at? Anything that you can really do really well?
What can I do really well? You know what I really enjoy? Well, maybe it's not enjoying so much, it's the wrong word. When I have a client who has chosen an epidural, I still really enjoy the engagement with that client in using optimal fetal positioning and such. Um, it's not so much even all the was it tips, tricks, and tools, or whatever we call it. It's just kind of watching how someone is still comfortable or uncomfortable even with an epidural, and being able to tap into what it is they need at that point. Because, you know, once all the discomfort goes away, then and someone gets back into their head what they're thinking about and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just talking and chatting. Sometimes it's someone who is saying something out loud that might sound like, I'm still feeling discomfort here, and being able to reply to that from my experience, but at the same time being able to say, well, you know what, if that doesn't ebb away, if that doesn't go away, we can simply call back anesthesia. You're not going to have to deal with that the rest of your labor. Yeah, it's, for as much as everyone knows I love a good home water birth, but I really still enjoy
Does everybody know that? Does everybody know that? Now you know it.
Now you know.
It's your favorite.
Yeah, just being with people. I don't know if it's anyone's skill, but I don't feel any less useful after the epidural. Maybe that's a good way to do it. Good way to say it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Post epidural engagement. I enjoy that.
Post epidural. Oh, post like administration of the epidural. All right.
Yeah.
Or during epidural engagement, you mean?
Yeah. While that sucker's running.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Good.
How about you, Miss Suzanne? What's your?
Well, hold on. I'm not.
She's next.
No, I
Who's
was
next?
going to say to Steph, you're also very good at like knowledge. And like whenever I say, I've never heard of this XYZ thing, you're like, oh, that's da 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 da. And here's a
That's
whole bunch
it.
of research behind it. And
100%.
check out this
Yes.
website. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do you even have that
And
information?
yes, it affects the sacrum in this specific way. And she is she's
Fuck.
the walking obstetric text.
Yeah, literally.
She
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
I have to say, so much of it was shut down on the SOGC site, but the AOM site is still a wealth of information. Let me tell you.
That's true too. It is.
Hey,
So.
Suzanne, you know we're filming this, right?
Oh, shit. This whole thing fell down and Okay, never mind.
Put your boots back, get your legs down.
Roaming like yard dogs. There we go.
People are gonna flock. People are gonna flock to the YouTube channel now.
Ooh, yeah, you can give me all the credit for boosting our numbers. Great. Well, I will also say, Steph, you're selling yourself short. You are, in terms of knowledge, you're really good at helping support people who are yearning for VBAC.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yeah.
Absolutely.
You've got that specialty.
Yeah, you're the queen of that.
I think that plays into that knowledge bit. Like, I love having that information on hand for those people. And I think, again, we've talked about lining up with people who are meant to line up with. So people who really want to understand the process and understand the biases you might even hold yourself, with that knowledge, like being able to give it to people and say, hey, here's another way to look at it, or here's why this might be being recommended, and sending them away with that to think on it and see how they want to apply things. So thank you. I do love that part of it.
You have a lot of superpowers.
You've got like a tickle trunk full of superpowers.
I have my tickle trunk. Well, we all have a tickle trunk. What's in yours tickle trunk, guys? What do you have to pull out?
Oh God, why me? I don't know.
Why not?
To give myself more time to think. That's why.
Bitch. All right. What do I bring to the table? What's my special talent? I mean, I think I like to think. This is so hard because I hate talking about myself. I know that's hard to believe, but I think probably my highlight, what I bring to the table. I think I'm very good at keeping people calm about, making sure that, this is all normal and it's okay and everything is fine, and let's not freak out about this until we need to freak out about it. I've had people comment, and I love this comment, but I also hate this comment where, I couldn't have done it without you, having you there really helped things. And really, in essence, I don't remember doing anything fabulous, except just being present. And I think I don't necessarily bring to births, I have a doula bag, which I rarely ever open, but I bring what I think, that calming presence, that hand to hold, that voice of calm and reason, that, bit of education to explain what's happening so people understand better what their body's doing, which is why I enjoy teaching, and just making everybody aware that, what, this is all good. This is all normal. This is all what's happening, what's supposed to be happening to you. And I think for me, that goes a long way into how people will remember their birth, that their body was working and it was doing what it was supposed to do. And I was able to provide that extra, voice to say, yeah, it's okay. We're okay. You're okay. Everybody's okay. And when, as we know, last year when the shit hit the fan for so many births, that calmness and the ability to make sure that everybody was okay, I think really helped them. It didn't necessarily help me. I think for me, I actually left something of myself in those as a result. But I think that's sort of who I am and what I bring to births, which is why I think I can do virtual support really well, because I don't physically have to be there in order to do that stuff. I just have to use my voice. I was like, oh, what's in your doula bag? What's in your doula bag?
My
My
voice.
voice and my hands and my calm I remember one client saying, I just remember looking up and looking into your eyes and just knowing that everything was okay. And it was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. That's what I want to be.
Mhm. I
I don't want to be the doula that's doing like double hip squeezes and doing the mile circuit with you and flipping you around and I'm the doula that's there going, I'm the doula over in the corner knitting going, yeah, you're good. Right? I don't knit.
Yes.
Nor I.
I crochet, but I don't knit.
I can do both, but I don't at births.
I would have to agree with that too. The your voice, like there was a time when I would doula and Kim would teach hypnobirthing,
Mm-hmm.
and that was always what people came back to in clients that I worked with, was asking if they could get rid of they wished when we would then put on the mantras and stuff from hypnobirthing.
Yeah.
I can't. There was more than one time where they're like, "Turn it the fuck off." I should have recorded Kim's voice. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, good God. Absolutely.
I told you guys once before that Kim has a voice that I don't know if you should be on radio or do commercials or whatever, that you
I have a
probably
face for radio.
you have. No, voice, not face, voice. And that Stephanie has, like, that's your unique thing, is your voice. That's what I always remember about you, is your voice. And for Steph, it's her walk. She has have you ever noticed Stephanie's walk?
It's
Steph
pretty purposeful.
she's got a walk about her. I'm like, look at that bitch go. Look at her. Look at Steph, how she moves down the road. I love Stephanie's walk. Even if she's just walking from the table to the kitchen to get a glass of water, I got to watch her walk. So she's got that walk. So
I love it when she walks into your house like she actually lives there.
Yes. Yes.
Like I imagine you walk into the birth room like that too. Like you just walk in and go, okay, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Okay, come in, bring it in. I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's get this shit going.
Yeah.
How about you, Miss Suzanne? What do you love about? What's your doula
What do I
superpower?
bring to the table? Well, This is the joy of going last, because I was able to like scribble down some notes. Okay, so I think I'm really good at making connections with building relationship with my clients. Every single client that I've ever had, I can honestly say that no, I'm lying. There's a couple just popped into my head where it didn't work despite my attempts. So I'm really good at building relationships and making connections with people in a way that I feel connects us tightly. And that is, to me, the core of my doula work. And so, yeah, I don't most of the time need to be doing all sorts of fancy tricks. People just want me there because I have spent all these months building this relationship with them. And that's exactly why I have a hard time with virtual support, because it's harder to do that, to make that connection when people can't see you. This is exactly why I'm struggling with virtual classes, because in-person classes, it's so easy for me. It just is so natural for me to be able to connect with the people who are in front of me, and it's just not coming easily in the virtual sphere. So I'm really good at that, making connections with people, learning about them, because I am very, very interested in people. I so miss my dinner prenatals. I miss them so much, where we sit and I ask them, like, where did you go to school? What was your favorite subject? What are your siblings and how do you guys get along? And how did you guys meet? Like, I love hearing people's stories. And it just doesn't happen naturally easily over the phone or the computer. So that's my big thing, is making connections between people and myself, building relationships. I'm really good at distilling concepts down into the practical, right? Like talking about big theories and ideas doesn't impress me. I'm always like, yeah, that's interesting, that's intriguing. And immediately my brain goes to, well, what does that have to do with real life? If it has nothing to do with real life, it actually disappears and I don't care. It just is up there in the clouds. But things need to be brought down to earth. So concepts like uh, birth is a primal experience and blah blah blah, like you could say these things to people, but what does that actually mean? On the day when I'm in labor, what does that concept mean to me? It means that you need to, sorry, my alarm went off. It means that you need to let your body do what it needs to do. It means that you need to pay attention to being hydrated and eating. Like, what does it actually mean? How does it translate into how I move through the day? That's why the pragmatic doulas is such a fitting name, because everything, the lofty, the woo-woo, if it doesn't break down into real life stuff, then I lose interest really fast. So the things that I speak to my clients about, the concepts that I believe in, the birth philosophies and stuff that I believe in, I'm really good at explaining them because I've had lots of practice now of bringing them down to earth and saying, this is what you need to do. This is why, during labor, you need to relax. What does that mean? Why is it so hard? And here's why it's hard. It's really, really practical and easy to explain. There's that. And I'm really good at breastfeeding support.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
As of La Leche League. I was already a La Leche League leader for like 14 years when I did my doula training. So yeah, I'm really good at that.
I'm going to touch back on that pragmatic part of you there, Suzanne, about being able to break down certain things for families and how that applied to a family that I worked with, that you also worked with. I think prenatally, you did a prenatal class with them. They had done they'd also done a group class for breastfeeding. And afterwards, for as much as they felt like they had a great piece of information, they came out of it feeling like if you didn't breastfeed, you just didn't try hard enough. And that it was an underpinning. It was like just a little ugliness that kind of followed them out, but they couldn't put their fingers on it until after they did a little prenatal, I think they did prenatal baby care or something with you. And when I spoke to my clients, they had said, I feel so much better after talking to Suzanne about breastfeeding and baby care. And I said, better against what? They said, well, we took this class over here, but I felt like I couldn't approach that person afterwards if I was struggling with something. Whereas with Suzanne, she's like, it's just where you're at. Sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. It's just like you would, ask someone to pass you a glass of water, you'd ask them to, help you fix your latch. It's just something you do. Because no one's expected to learn a skill. Your baby's not expected to learn a skill with having never done it before, and should never expect to learn a skill having never done it before, or even you've never watched somebody. You don't get your license on the first try, the first time you drove a car. And you had laid it out for her in such a way that when she wanted help, she totally asked for it and felt no way about it.
Good.
But she said, had she not worked with you, she would have resisted ever asking for help with breastfeeding.
Whoop whoop, yay me.
And so that's what I mean, is that is your superpower, because you literally went from her taking a great class but left with you just didn't try hard enough sensation, to literally that approach of yours made motherhood for her and baby feeding for her something that didn't require any self-judgment. It only required interest and curiosity about how it could be improved.
Yeah.
Definitely your superpower.
Yeah.
And it's not just breastfeeding. Like that applied to everything about taking care of a whole person and keeping them alive.
Yeah. Because that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. The baby's got to be alive and the mother has to be sane.
That
Absolutely.
is true.
Yeah. And how we get there matters. And sometimes it is breastfeeding and sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's just the way it is. So
I think, though, that's I think that plays into
baby, or
the
getting your baby to not sleep with you, or normalizing things.
I
Yeah.
think that I think that all plays into, and I'm not saying we're old, we are, but we're not. I think that plays into the experience that we have. Like, I mean, when you first became a doula, were you not like, oh my God, we're going to do this, we're going to save the world, and everybody's going to have a vaginal birth, and everybody's going to breastfeed, and everything is going to be wonderful, and life is going to be great, and then, you know, you go through a few years of it, and you get kicked in the ass a few times, and you're like, oh yeah, you know what? It's okay if XYZ doesn't happen, and it's okay if, you know, this client chooses to do that, and blah blah blah. I mean, I think over time, I know my teaching has changed, because I mean, I think when I first became a teacher, it was like, no, we have to do it this way, blah blah blah. But now I'm like, hey, look, I'm just here. Here's the information. Here's the information buffet. You take from that buffet what you want, and you create for yourself what your birth journey is going to look like. I'm not here to judge. And I think for me, it's experience that's gotten me there. It's doing this for 15 years that's gotten me there. And I've kind of left behind that, you know, I got to fix everything, I got to change the world, you know, I got to do XYZ. I think it boils down to, more for me, how did that person, when that birth was over, what did they think? What did they feel about the birth? How did it affect them? And is it Maya Angelou that says people won't remember what you do, but they'll remember how you made them feel? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
that's kind of how I want birth to be. I want birth to be an experience for them that feels supported, not empowered, because I hate that word, but um, I want them to feel like it was a journey that they took and that they did. Like me finishing that goddamn floor. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I went through it, and yeah, it's just a floor, but I did that, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what I want that
Talking about.
sense of accomplishment for people.
And I agree with you 100%, because I think if you had asked me this, if we had asked ourselves the same question 2 years into our doula journey, our answers would be much different. The more you do things, and you know, the older you get, the more experience you have with something, there is a stripping down of your ego, and
Yes.
there is a removal of yourself from the experience. And yes, when you're young and idealistic, or when you're first starting out on your journey, not everybody's young when they start this doula
No.
journey.
Yeah, that's true.
I keep trying to make sure that I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about age in terms of how many years you've been doing doula work. Like in the beginning, I was very idealistic. I had ideals that I felt everybody should have. I felt like my ideals were universal, that everybody should be aiming for the goals that I aimed for. And then a few clients I got, you know, shocked me, like they were not aiming for the goals that I was aiming for, and their ideals were not the same as mine. And I realized, oh, this slowly, and not even consciously, subconsciously, I realized this is not about me. This is not my experience. This is their experience. And then there's a subtle shifting of behavior. There's a subtle shifting of how you
Mindset.
define your role. And then practically speaking, there's a shift in practicality, how you actually behave and walk through your work. And that is why, yeah, I still bring the same stuff in my doula bag, but honestly, most of the time, they all just sit there. They sit
Hmm.
there, and I still teach the same things in my comfort measures classes. Well, this is how you do the double hip squeeze, and you know, firm massage looks like this, and don't forget you can bring a heating pad, you can have an ice pack, and all of those tricks of the trade. But I now say to people, you may not need any of this, honestly. So as time moves on, there's also like a distilling down of everything to its true essence. And I think that when you first start out doing this, The true essence is there, but it's padded with all of your hopes and your dreams and your wishes for everybody's birth. Your ideas of birth cover up what the real issue is, that this experience is not yours. This experience belongs to the birthing person. And if they have a partner, they're like them. That is who this experience belongs to. And you are there to support that.
Mm-hmm.
And all
wherever they are.
Yes. And whatever that looks like, that is your job, is to support that, not your stuff. Your stuff is your stuff. Go write a book about your birth experience or whatever you want to do, but it has nothing to do with these people. They may agree with your ideologies, but they may not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was left speechless the very first time, probably about a year into doula work, when a couple, they came to my class, they hired me to be their doula, and then they said to me, we actually don't want to know anything. We just want to know like the bare necessities. We just want to know how the bare bones process of birth works, but we don't want to know the pros and cons of epidural. We're just going to take it 1 hour at a time, and whatever happens, happens. And I was like, what? How dare you?
I'm an educator, damn it. You will learn.
My job is to inform you about things and to give you this pros and cons information so that you can make an informed choice. And they were just like, nope, we don't. We are fine. We're fine. We trust our caregiver. We trust the hospital. We trust the process. We have you there. We feel that that is as much preparation as we need. And I was just like, okay, yeah, that's it. So I left there feeling like, now, well, what do I do? I can't like tell them all the things and fix everything for them and make them feel like they own this, and they're fine. They're fine. And I had to
want to own it.
Yeah. And that was hard because that's how my mindset was back then. And now if I heard that, I'd be like, beautiful, excellent.
Great.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
As a matter of fact, I want one of those couples now because they're so easy to deal with. You don't really have to do much. Just tell them, you look great. How did your doctor's appointment go? Excellent. That's great. Everything's great. Everything's great. Everything's great. And you just move forward like that. So
do you think that, 15, 20 years ago, do you think that our doula trainings, that were sort of that crunchy, woo-hoo, witchy stuff, do you think it set us up for failure back then? And the only reason why we survived this, into 15, 20 years later, that being adaptable made us who we are?
That's a good question.
I mean, I remember thinking, I remember the books you had to read and the stuff that we talked about in the classes and whatnot, and and birth is normal, birth is natural, blah blah blah. Go squat in a field. This is all. Epidurals are bad. Pitocin is evil. All this stuff, and then you get thrown into the mix, and now you're in a hospital setting where all this shit is normal, and you're going, "What am I doing? I don't understand." And then it was really only, I like to think that it was, we were the sharks of that time that managed to survive through, a whole lot of stuff to get to this point here. Sorry, it was Shark Week last week on Discovery Channel. So, that the fact that we are here, because there aren't, a lot of doulas now have been in this business maybe 5 years. There's not a lot really of us oldies left, I don't think. And we managed to adapt, and the 2020 word of the year, pivot, anytime that stuff was happening, and that adaptability into accepting what people's choices are, did that allow us to get to this point where we are now, the senior doulas.
Senior doulas.
Seasoned
doulas.
Seasoned. Well seasoned with MSG and sulfites.
And you said the books we had to read. What books are you referring to?
Well, anything.
Ina May's book.
Anything with Ina May,
spiritual midwifery.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a bunch of them that I was given that were all like, I don't even know if they're even still in print. They were all like, woo. And I mean, we talked about this last week, you know, a bunch of naked people in it and, you know, squatting outside. And I'm like,
Everybody's like really
what
hairy.
is this like? What the hell? That's
And
not what
everybody has like
hospital birth
long
is.
pigtails.
Yes.
So
Oh,
you and I
man.
had the
And a
same
lot of pubic hair.
a lot of pubic hair. You and I had the same trainers, Steph.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that when I took my training, my image of birth, my idea of birth, that fed right into it at the time, actually. Woo woo, everything natural, everything quote unquote natural, everything that birth is natural, birth is normal. I mean, for God's sake, they showed that Russian water birth video in my training as an example of normal birth. Like friggin' go to the ocean, surround yourself
Surround
with
yourself with
naked people from
dolphins.
your commune and birth your baby in the sea while everybody passes the baby around underwater. And like that's, I mean, as beautiful as it sounds, that's not the reality of birth here in Toronto.
And see, if I had
It's
taken
what
that
it's saying.
class, if I had taken that class, I would have felt like being a doula wasn't for me because that's not the experience I had. And the birth experiences that I had, except for the first one, as we all know, um, were really great positive experiences. Like, and and I knew that the one thing that I needed in my birth was support. And that's what I felt doulas were supposed to be that person that was there for support. But if I had taken a training where, I mean, the books alone, they were something else. But if I, thankfully, my training wasn't quite like that. My training was a little more practical.
Yeah.
Um, but if I had taken that training, I'd have been like, "Oh, shit, I need to find something else to do with my life. And I wouldn't be here now because there's no way that I would have continued on because that's not what I felt was the reality. And I would have felt like I was being a fraud, trying to adapt to that, which was never an experience for me.
But catering to reality was not my goal. My goal was catering to
Right.
ideals at that time, right? And so they were showing the ideals. The ideal is to have a water birth in the ocean. Like that's the ideal, and everybody should be aspiring to. And you can help people aspire to that by being a great doula. And that was what I left there with. And so I thought, yes, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get people as close to that ideal as possible. So obviously we can't all give birth in the Black Sea,
No,
but
because we live next to Lake Ontario, so
we live in
and
North
nobody
That won't be
America.
wants to
happening.
even swim there. So
But how close can we get to that ideal? You know? And that's what they helped me up to do. And slowly, slowly I realized I kept failing. I kept failing until I realized, oh, I can't make that happen for people because it's
no,
not about me and my
no, well,
magic
and that's
skills. So I don't know if they set me up for something, and somehow or another
you
I
plowed
stuck it
through.
out long enough. Yeah, I plowed through. I stuck around long enough to realize that it's just not the reality, and it is better to face the reality that you have in front of you and make the best of what you have. You know, start where you are, use what you have. What's the other one? Start where you are, use what you have. There's like a saying, and
Somebody Google that.
deal with it basically. There's no point in yearning for a water birth in the Black Sea when your baby's transverse and you've got to have a C-section. Like
Yeah.
how much desperate traumatic processing you're going to have afterwards if your ideals were so way out there that they're unrealistic. Like why not look the reality in the face and let's talk about how we can make this an amazing, loving, positive experience, whatever it is that's facing you. So
I mean,
my ideals changed to that.
how many times have you, like, especially in the beginning, did you come out of the birth, and you hear this on Facebook all the time? How many times did you come out of birth going, "Oh my God, that was awful," and then but the client's like, oh my God, that was amazing. That was so good. But your visions of what happened don't match. And
Yes.
it's that where you have to go, yeah, but if they thought it was okay, if
And it was
they thought it
okay.
was amazing and it was beautiful, then it was. And you need to process your shit,
Yeah.
not with them, but you
Yeah.
need to process your own shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I think it comes to what you had said before is, you have to, like what Steph said, is you have to go into these births and into this stuff knowing it's not about you. It's not about your birth. You cannot create outcomes. You can't. You can help, make everybody feel good about it, but you doing a double hip squeeze or other stuff isn't necessarily going to stop that person from necessarily having a cesarean birth. It's how those people will feel. Is it Penny Simkin that says this? How you will feel about how that person feels about that birth afterwards, that's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not the actual how it ended, but how they feel. Did they feel supported? Did they feel, loved and cared for? And what I like, do they feel like they were part of the process? That's huge. That is where that when you remember your birth, that's what you're going to remember.
Yes. I found the quote. It
Okay.
is
Somebody Googled it.
Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. What else can we ask of people? We can't ask them to start somewhere where they're not. We can't ask them to use what they don't have. And we can't ask them to do more than they can do.
That's
So
right.
that's I love that quote so much because it's so practical and it makes sense and it really does encourage you to do your best with what you have right now.
It's
Which we
pragmatic.
all do anyway. So
To meet people where they are. If
where
you're
they
trying to,
are,
if
yes.
you try to do anything other than when you're connecting with somebody, try to force them into a place they're not, then you're not doing yourself a service, you're not doing them a service. If you
And
come
you'll
and
lose
kind
them.
of understand them where they are and help meet the need they have, then you're doing well, connecting.
Yeah.
And that's why when you're talking to clients and they say, XYZ, that's why I always say, so how do you feel about that? Because I want to know where they are in that whole thing and then meet them in that spot. I don't want to go off half cocked. Oh my God, that was terrible. But, they feel completely different about it. You don't want to skew
Yeah,
people's vision of how they feel, because how they feel, that's valid.
exactly. So
Feelings can't be wrong.
I just wanted to say that the person who said that, I didn't know
Yeah, I
this.
was going to say, who said that?
Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, was said by Arthur Ashe, a famous
Ah,
African American tennis player who died of AIDS back in the 90s. And he's the one that said that. So there you go. I think I might write that down somewhere because I constantly refer back to that quote in my head always. When I'm lecturing my kids are in the depths of despair about their lives or whatever. I tell them the answer is in the doing. First of all, the answer is in the doing. Sitting around moaning about things and sitting around waiting for motivation to hit you on the head, it's not going to happen. You
no.
actually have to get up and sometimes force yourself to do the thing that you know you're supposed to do. And that's where you'll get motivation. And self-esteem comes from that too. When we talk about empowering people, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to take power that I have and give it to somebody. Just like how people used to think when the whole self-esteem movement came around in terms of parenting, a lot of people thought that if they just kept telling their kids, oh, I love you, you're really good, you're awesome, you're great, you're the best, that is how you build self-esteem. And it isn't. It is saying to your kid, do it again, do it over, do it properly, do it again, do hard things. Yes, you can. Yes, you can do hard things. And when you do something hard, and you finish it and you feel that feeling, that's self-esteem. That feeling you felt after you finished doing the floor, that's self-esteem. And when people give birth and they give birth and we're like, yes, do that thing. That's it. You're pushing really great. Keep doing that. You're the one that's doing this. And they give birth to their baby, however they give birth to their baby. That's when they feel, that's the stuff. I didn't do that.
No.
They got that feeling because they did it. They did the thing because they went through that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's, but that mindset took a while to get here. Wasn't there. It developed over time. Got honed into my face. All the wrinkles in my face are from those, from all of those births, watching and realizing slowly that, oh, this is your experience. It really isn't about me.
That's when they say, you know, I couldn't do it without you. And it's like, yeah, you could have.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah.
You actually could have, but I'm glad I was here.
I'm glad I was here, and I probably made things
Marginally better?
Here, maybe like, it's like a birthday party. And what's a birthday? It's somebody's birthday. It's a special day, and you've got your loved ones together, and everybody's there, and you're celebrating together. Yeah, you can do that, but maybe I brought the really delicious cake, or I decorated the room really nicely, and it just made the occasion a little sparklier. Great. But the meat and potatoes of the occasion could have absolutely happened without me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go.
So there you go, doulas. It's not about you.
Leave your ego at home.
Figure out your own shit. Not in, and I think that's the other thing too, is I hate to see doulas put so much emphasis on, you know, what they do and the outcomes that they are creating. It's, you're not. And then you get the doulas are like, but I don't know what to do. And yeah, you do. I think we go to these doula trainings and we have, you know, these doula trainers are like, oh, I'm going to instill all this knowledge on you. And but in reality, when it all comes down to it, the way you become a good doula, yes, you have this knowledge and you have this, you know, you have to go in with something. But I think the big meat and potatoes of your education in being a doula is actually doing and being there and creating that safe space.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I walked out of my doula training, I certainly didn't know what the fuck I was doing. However, 15 years later, I know that what I got from each birth laid more of the foundation on, you're doing this, you've got this, this is what's happening, and you know what you're doing. And that's when I realized that, you know, birth isn't about drama and emergencies and saving people from things. It's about being there and supporting and creating that space for them to open up themselves and do what they need to do. And I didn't do anything to do that except be me.
Back to authenticity.
Yeah.
Which
Right
was your
up there.
point, Steph. Yeah. Be yourself, but take yourself out of it.
Yeah. Put yourself in there, but take yourself out of it.
Yourself on the outside of their experience. And that's your lesson for today. I hope you took notes.
Yeah, exactly.
What's
So I started our new book.
Yes.
Finally.
I'm debating after we finish recording whether I should just lie down because I'm on my bed, just lie back and start the book, or take my ass downstairs, clean my kitchen, and make dinner.
Start the book.
You
I
vote
mean,
for book?
It's only 3:15 now. I'll just start dinner now.
I have to clean the kitchen. My kitchen is a disaster.
Oh, I had my son clean the kitchen before.
Clean. I have no sons at home right now. So
Oh no. Well, I walked upstairs to have a nap because my brain was about to explode.
So maybe I will do a little bit of that. I just finished a book last night. I finished this book.
Philippa Gregory's Tidelands.
Yes. Very good. If you are into England, 1648.
I like her, actually. She's very
Yeah,
good.
I've read a lot of her books.
I've read pretty much every goddamn one of her books. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. She writes a lot about kings and queens and stuff like that, and she's the one who wrote The Other Boleyn Girl, which is pretty famous, was made into a movie and a CBC mini series or something.
I think
I-
maybe,
I
yeah.
loved that book. I loved that
The
book.
Other Boleyn Girl, yes, I love that
Yeah.
too, because I love historical stories told from another perspective.
Yeah.
Not even, they don't have to be real historical stories.
It's
Any
historical
story-
fiction.
It's historical fiction, but any story really told from the perspective of a minor character. Love that. I will read all of those. Love it. So, and remember, we are doing our book club on September 17th, right?
Yes, we are.
Got some time to get the book,
Yeah.
And
Yeah. read
what's
it.
it called again?
The
Called
The Pull of the
Of
Stars.
the Stars.
And it's by Emma Donoghue, same author who wrote The Room and The Wonder, both of which I've read.
And if you want to be a part of the book club,
Read the book.
if you want to be part of the book club discussion, let us know and we will get that organized. We will be recording it on September 17th at 2:00.
That's right. That's when we're actually having the discussion and recording that.
Yeah.
So
So
do it. You know you want to, so just do it.
So message us if you want to be part of that and we'll get that all set up. I would say, we can have as many as we want because, last time we did this, only one person responded. So
But what an awesome person it
More than
was.
one.
yeah. And if you can be there at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time, if you were in another part of the country, another country altogether, we'd love to have you.
We'd love to have you. Carissa, I hope
Yes.
she's coming back.
I hope she's going to read. Yeah, she was wonderful.
Great. So Carissa, if you're listening, go get your book right now. We've got you pegged and you better come back. So
I think she's given us a suggestion for the next book too, which is nice. I can't remember what it's called, but
Oh yeah, she posted something about a book, and I wrote back to her. I'm like, oh my god, that'd be a great idea, but I don't remember what the book was.
yeah. Actually, this book here, The Tidelands, is the main character in this book also does midwifery and deals with, birth and stuff like that. There's a pregnancy involved, and it's about, witchcraft and women and stuff. Yeah. There's not witchcraft, I should say, witch hunting, trial. Not quite the same thing, but there you go. Yeah. So what do you
All right,
guys
so
have
cool.
for dinner tonight?
Sorry?
What are you having for dinner tonight?
Oh, the HelloFresh.
It's in the box today.
Today is the last of what I had. Cheesy enchiladas.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Should be good. And then I actually, because I had to postpone last week's box to Tuesday, I actually got another box coming on Saturday. So
Perfect.
Very
So
exciting.
how many meals? 1 meal?
3.
3 meals.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, when we eat our way through all the stuff in our freezer, then I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, but I got too much stuff in my freezer to justify paying for fancy bring-in meals.
It's not fancy.
Some of that stuff sounds fancy.
It just sounds fancy.
Okay.
I had, what did we have? So next week, I'm very excited actually. There's one that's like this pork something or other with this shallot gravy and creamy mashed potatoes and
See?
Yeah.
Shallots? What the hell? I don't even know
I
what
know.
a shallot looks like.
it's funny.
Onion.
It's funny. I had a box a couple weeks ago but I guess, I don't know if it sat outside maybe a little too long or something like that, but the sour cream was off.
Oh,
So I had made this gravy with shallots and all this stuff, and then I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't look right. Like it's all curdled and stuff. This isn't right. So I threw it out, and I'm like, but I have a shallot. I went into my freezer and I actually had shallots. I can't remember what.
shallot. What
Can't
possessed you
remember.
by shallots? Was it a recipe?
I had a recipe and I just had them in the refrigerator in the crisper. So yeah, I still have some.
Are shallots
I'm
related to
fancy like
garlic
that.
or onions?
It's the same thing, but I think a shallot is like it has like a purplish hue to it, and I think it's a little more mild
It's the
than a
same thing as
regular
what?
onion.
Which one?
And it breaks down differently. When you're sauteing it, you got to go a much lower heat, or else it scalds a hell of a lot faster than an onion.
Ah, I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
related to an onion?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it looks like an onion.
Oh, I
It's
thought.
almost like a combination of a purple onion and a Spanish onion.
Yeah. And it's a
Oh,
little more oval.
Yeah, looks like a teardrop.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. I've never bought one in my life. Just like last winter was the first time I'd ever bought leeks.
Oh,
I made like a potato leek soup, which was phenomenal,
oh, I love
so
potato leek
delicious,
soup.
and so simple. And I've never bought leeks before that or
Well,
since, really.
we had in that same box, we had roasted Brussels sprouts. And I know you guys eat Brussels sprouts, but I've never eaten a Brussels sprout in my life. And it was like, okay, that didn't suck. I mean, I hate vegetables. I can't be a vegetarian because vegetables, the taste of most vegetables makes me want to hurl. But after
Wow.
I got through like the first one, I was like, oh yeah, I think I could do this. Yeah, all right. That's not so bad. So it's broadening my horizons as far as feeding vegetables goes, which is good because
Perfect.
I eat like a 18-year-old frat boy. Like it's ridiculous, and I'm 50, so I need to stop doing that.
Yeah, you need to green it up a little bit.
Probably.
What are you having? What's your brood eating, Stephanie?
It's not Hello Fresh. It's Chef's Plate. Is that what it's called? I put HelloFresh on hold so I could try a different. Someone else sent me a code to try a new box from a different place, and so tonight it's a meatball simmered in some potatoes in some tomato sauce or something or other with a Greek salad on the side. So it's nothing fancy. It just has to be made.
Hmm.
So
Which
what?
is most dinners. Just has to be made.
So what? Why are you guys like? What's going on? Why are you working 60 hours a week? Why you need these
Well, I mean,
meals?
I did it because Stephanie gave us that free code. So I thought, fuck, let's try it. Um, but I like it because it actually forces me to cook. You know me, I cannot stand cooking. I
Mhm.
literally hate cooking with a passion. If I can't, just open up my fridge and pull out a box of something and shove it in my face, that to me is eating. But I know that's not normal. That's not what normal people do. Um, but this actually forces me, and I hate meal planning and all this stuff, but they do it for you. Like, here's your meals and you fill in the rest. And I've discovered that it's not more expensive than if I grocery shopped and did this stuff myself. It's not cheaper either. It's probably about the same, but it actually, because the stuff it comes in like one little package, like that. This is the package we're going to use today. It
It's all
forces
chopped
me
up.
to
It's
do
ready to
that.
go.
Yeah, and there's no waste. So it's not like, like when I went grocery shopping yesterday to pick up like fruit and stuff like that for the breakfast stuff and lunch stuff. Um, I went into the drawers of good intentions in my refrigerator and threw out like some asparagus that was basically, I don't know, soup,
Mhm.
and a whole bunch of other stuff because I buy it with the best of intentions to eat it, and
Yeah.
then I just don't. But because they've already created, and this is not an ad, we're not getting paid for this, but
Although we should.
although we should, um, because of uh, it's already sort of worked out for you, everything that you need is perfect. It's right there, and you just pull the bag out, and this is what we're going to do. I have a little space on the one side. Everything goes in, 3 bags fit with the meat, goes in. It goes in how I'm going to eat them. So first in, last out, pull the bag out, make it, and it's actually pretty what do you say, like environmentally friendly, like
Yeah,
everything
everything goes back in the green, in the
in the
biodegradable
recycle,
bag,
and
and it goes into the green bin. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
was your thing also convenient stuff? Is that why you
Yeah,
guys?
like it's not just convenience, it's like the decision's been made, the stuff's been pulled out.
that's it. The
I
decision is made.
Yeah,
Made. That's a big
all
step.
on one day the decision is made.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like
And
in
because
a
it's all
fancy
chopped
place
up,
and somebody brings you a fancy dinner every night.
it is. It's just like, and as you move through the week too, all the stuff's already chopped up, so you can't let it sit outside the week. Whereas you could do this whole meal planning for the week and buy all the groceries, but it's not chopped up and it's not ready to go. And if
Like
you let it leave
you
it,
have your own sous chef.
yeah, it's been done.
And
Yeah.
so there's also the idea that, like, I'm sitting there. So last night we had like this pork stir fry and there was rice. And I'm like, what the fuck? I gotta make rice? Like, this is like real rice. Like, this is not the Uncle Ben's throw in the microwave for 90 seconds package of rice. It's like real ass rice. I don't even remember how to do that. What the hell? And then they're like, okay, so then
Oh,
there's like great,
rice every day.
you had to grate the ginger. I'm like,
What?
what the fuck do you mean? I have
Yeah.
a jar of ginger right here that's already pre-grated. Or you had to, I'm like smashing the garlic and peeling it and putting it through my garlic press. I'm going, I actually had a garlic press from
That's
150 years ago. I'm like, look at me being all like fucking cooking and shit, right? Yeah, no, it's actually put me sort of back to where, I mean, I actually kind of enjoy cooking now with this. When it's not there, I'm like, oh, fuck, can we just order pizza?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I hear ya. Sounds good. And like I said, I will try it. I will give it a shot. Maybe one day when nobody's home, because there's too many giant mouths in this house that I bet HelloFresh does not give hefty portions.
They're
Yeah,
not bad.
I mean, we feed four, me and my four teenage children, my adult son and my two adult sons and my daughter. And yeah, there was leftovers of the pork stir fry. I don't know what they thought a portion was going to be. That was a lot.
So you tell them how many servings
Yeah.
each meal? Okay, I see. Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a shot. And like we said, this is not sponsored.
We are not being sponsored.
Should be.
But hey, HelloFresh, if you want to sponsor us, hey,
We're down.
we're
bad.
here. We will happily take your
Hello,
money.
Fresh. We are here.
We will take your money and we will invest it back into our podcast.
We have 17 listeners, and they
We
will
have
all
more than
subscribe to
17
your
listeners. We have 100 listeners.
We have 100 listeners, and don't tell me that 100 new subscribers is not something that would be a good thing for you. I'm sure it would.
Could be.
Yeah, well, that's great. I see Ziggy peeking out at me from under the couch. Now, you can sense that this podcast recording is over, right? Because she's been under there this whole time. Now she came out, and she's just lying there peeking at me. Cute. And I'm dying of thirst, but she's not going to bring me any water, so I better go hydrate my own damn self.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. So we love you.
We
Wear
do.
Don't be an asshole. Wash your hands. Stay 6 feet apart. Things are.
Be kind.
So bad.
And if you're in the States, vote.
Why? First of all, but okay, maybe you were born there and your parents were born there and that's why you're there. But yeah, vote. If you're mailing in, don't let those assholes deter you.
Yep.
Find a mailbox and put your mail ballot in there, or whatever it is that you have to do. Just get your vote in. If you're voting Republican, then you can disregard this message and not stay home and watch.
Yesterday was the 100th anniversary of the women getting the vote in the United States.
Yeah. So I read something that said that Donald Trump pardoned Susan B. Anthony.
Wasn't she already pardoned? I don't know.
Pardoned her for her crimes of
being,
civil unrest.
demanding the vote.
Yeah. It feels so
You know
stupid.
what? She's probably in her grave going, fuck you.
Yeah,
I don't need your damn pardon.
that's right. Yeah.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okie dokie.
yeah.
That's it.
Have a great week. Be
All we got
kind.
for you. Be kind. Be kind to yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Don't
right.
Do
forget
that
that.
this week.
You matter.
You matter. All
Okay.
right.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.